Things are only gonna get worse. They're only gonna get much much worse, and the light at the end of the tunnel. I want to say we're gonna see it in our lifetime, but anyway, that's a conversation for another time. So today I want to talk about. I'm not even sure how many people have heard about this, the Montreal shooting that happened last week in Canada. 3 people were killed. The shooter himself, police officer, and a civilian. Um, the kid, now, I managed to get my hands on his manifesto. They all have their own manifestos, right? And this is just another in a long line of these. And it is what it is. He was an incel shooter, right? He was an incel shooter. And don't get me wrong, I feel for him. Multiple things can't be true at once. Is what he did right? Absolutely not. Is he a criminal? 100%, right? But so why did the kid do it, right? So I read his manifesto. It was about 20 to 26 pages. Um, and what I gotta say is, I agree with almost everything the kid says, except the part about communism. How communism will bring back tradition and it'll lead back to monogamy. And the reason, and that's the one thing that I found complete bullshit. But his thoughts on capitalism, or this monstrosity that has become today, crony capitalism, whatever you want to call it, and how it's leading to polygamy and hypergamy, like overdrive. He makes a lot of valid points. And I mentioned earlier, like today, nearly a quarter of women are involved in some kind of sex work, in any measure, like on a scale 1 to 10, they are 10, obviously being a full on porn star. They are on some level a quarter of women on that scale. And the kid, the way he talks about how capitalism, like I said, is the problem, how it's the root of it all. The way it is today, it is. And because we are getting poorer as a society, this is also one of the reasons why more and more women are inclined to join sex work. And obviously, we do live in a clown world today. So when you see things like girls post their stories about how I used to be alone, and I used to be my parents kicked me out, and I didn't have a job, no degree, but then I became a millionaire at 22 years old, and you already know the answer. And then, oh wow, what do you expect? She made the money by OnlyFans and whatnot. And I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. You are just a product of your environment. Like, I mean, and everybody knows this at this point. It's common sense. There's no intelligence needed for that one. You, under the guise of empowerment, the disguise of empowerment, which again, it's God, I fucking hate nothing more than that fucking sentence, fucking word. Under the disguise of empowerment, you have sold your souls to the devil for an average. What is the way? Like only like top 1% of females are actually making money. The average female is making $150 a month. So you sold your dignity, your soul for that type of money. Absolutely pathetic, right? But I'm thinking about it, and the more I think about it, the more I try to wrap my head around. Obviously, like the average female today is so preoccupied with their own bullshit that I've completely given up on the hope that they are gonna sit down, and unless somebody like me, or another man who has a worldly understanding, who can connect the dots, and who can lay out a clear map for the woman. I don't think most modern women are capable of sitting down and dissecting all this on their own. And part of the reason why is because why they have it on good. They're on the, like Obama said, right? They're on the, at the moment, the right side of history. So it seems like it's the right side of history. Okay, for now, of course, for now, everything ends. And now the kid, right? That's the thing I feel about him. On one end, you're gonna sit there and say, "Oh yeah, he could step up his game," and all those things, yada yada yada. We heard it 1,000 times. On the other hand, you gotta sit there and ask very simple question. Well, what does the modern female bring? So the modern man has to upgrade, evolve, has to evaluate, has to, have new attributes. Okay, so what does the new modern female has to have developed and evolved into? Nothing. And I said this before, there is no expectations of them. Literally, there really is not, right? They have no duty to society. Every remnants of shackle of shame, and obviously, guilt. Guilt takes more of a higher brain power, higher reasoning to have that inner self guilt, which I don't even think it's not just a woman thing anymore, right? It's a most people thing. But yeah, shame when it comes to women, those shackles have all been removed. So what need be for them to sit there and then say, hey, is something going wrong here? No, absolutely not. And the kid, yeah, the way he talks about it and how I guess there really is some truth to it that a lot of women would rather be a hooker to a billionaire, than to be a wife to a middle income guy. Says a lot about their nature, though. Like I said, there is a lot of brainwashing and conditioning there that's been going on for decades. So you also have to take that into consideration, right? But to whom, and if any woman will watch this, I genuinely do ask, like, pendulum always swings, nothing will last forever. How do you think this ends for you guys? How do you think this plays out? Again, this is going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening more and more. If anything, technology is the dam that's in front of this. Force. Like the dam is technology. That's what's holding this at bay. Had it not been for technology and the chance for getting caught, I think a lot more men today are reached that point of such. There's no remorse for them. For example, one of the first things that you start disassociating and connotating something with a non-human is when you start giving them a name, right? And an ugly name, a dirty name, right? We all know what the Germans used to call Jews and whatnot, and so many other groups have given other groups different names, slang words, and now the word Foid. Now we hear that everywhere. I've learned this a few months ago, actually. Apparently this is very deep. I guess it's mainstream now. I mean, I'm not even sure myself, right? It's hard to keep track of these things. But yeah, the word Foid, the way they call a woman, and it's very dehumanizing, right? And it tells you a lot of these men. Yeah, obviously there is an element of them being losers. Look, I've said it before and I'll say it 1,000 more times, okay? Not all of them. There is a very massive chunk of the red pill movement where a lot of these men are equivalent of modern day feminists. It's just on the other side of the aisle with, instead of a pussy, they got a dick. That's honestly what it is, victimhood complex, oh, poor me, and all the bullshit that comes with it that you expect from feminism. It's the same thing on the other side. They just have a different name for it. Like that, there's nothing much to say about that. And the thing is, and here we also have, so the female police officer, who is the one that killed the civilian, the way they are attacking her relentlessly, and that's completely uncalled for, because that poor woman, right, in the heat of the moment, tunnel vision, she's watching her, whom I assume to be her partner, being bleeding to death on the floor, few inches away from her, and the civilian, I don't know if this guy, I mean, I watched the videos from different angles multiple times. I'm not sure if he saw her. I'm not sure if he was just thinking that she would help him. But yeah, he snuck up behind her and she just turned around and she shot him. And I can't say much else, obviously, because I wasn't there and all that. But again, adrenaline, tunnel vision, there's a lot of elements, human emotion that's going on right there. So I don't find fault in her. That being said, I mean, I have seen an incredible amount, a ton of female officers. That completely tells you are doing a job that you have no business doing, right? Like, I don't know, again, DEI and all that bullshit empowerment that we have laid on your feet by the grace of God of the system that's the only reason why you're there. Like, don't ever fucking kid yourself. But no, in this particular instance, this woman, no. So, I mean, again, so we have another incel shooter. This is going to keep happening. That's a fact. I don't think this will ever stop. Because, again, like I said, there's so much expectations of the modern men, but there's no expectations of the modern woman. And I've had this conversation with many females, right? And I think I gave an example in one of the earlier videos, but the whole concept of passport bros going overseas, these Thai, Filipino, and whomever else, the females on that from that land, they are fully aware that their value is going up in the marketplace. But when you ask them why, is it because now you make a meal that's in a gold platter that you will never sag, you will never age, and all that? Your pussy will stay tight forever. No, it's not that. It's just social media. So that's the only thing that now, because of that, they have higher expectations on their own local domestic men. So that's the only game changer. It's not that they've evolved in any way. They just have access to newer tools. I urge women to wake up. I think in a lot of aspects, it's already too late in some ends. But wholeheartedly, I can always say it's never too late to turn around. And it's always hardest in the beginning. But we must correct course, because I'm telling you, and you don't need me to tell you this too. This is being told before me. This will be told after me. Something needs to be done between male and female relationships. I watch a lot of people today, young people, younger millennials, Gen Z. They have no understanding of human connection for the most part. It is the saddest thing you'll ever see. I mean, it's come to a point where they look like goofs trying to do anything and everything in their power to avoid eye contact, to even talk. I've seen these kids say, "Oh man, I'm tired to go to my dealership. I don't want to take my car for oil change." This is a real story, by the way. And then I would ask why. And this is a good young friend of mine, good guy. He's like, the guy there, he's a Spanish guy, and he always wants to talk to me and engage. And he's like, I do, but I'm like, what's that? And he said that bullshit. What's that thing? My social batteries are drained. Like, dear God, man, dear God. It's a meme society. It really is. It's a completely comical, nonsensical world. And I guess from now on, I'm going to start doing videos more regularly. Slowly I'm going to try new things. Like, I have a lot on my plate, so it's not that I have any audience to even speak of, much of an audience yet. We'll get there. But yeah, for now, I'll leave it at this. And who knows, maybe I might even put another one tomorrow about a different topic. Take care.